perform the job right the first time so we don't have to go back the second time and we don't have to go back the third time. Okay? We've all been there. We know callbacks are very expensive. We know callbacks don't make us any money. And why? So how can we avoid callbacks? A lot of times, if a callback is the company's fault and not the product's fault, it's doing it right the first time. Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. Hi, Greg McAfee here once again with the Greg McAfee Show. And last time we talked about the McAfee Way, and I said the next time we spoke that, or the next podcast we do rather, I would talk about the McAfee Way. So I think I told you that my board of advisors challenged me on the McAfee Way. I talked a lot about this is how we do things. This is the McAfee Way. I read the Toyota Way and I learned just how precise they were in their systems and doing it a certain way. In other words, they when it came to the systems, well, this is kind of interesting because actually a lot of times car companies will copy off other car companies and all of a sudden they come out with a very similar model but a little bit better. So it happens all the time in my business. We'll come out with something and then someone else tries to come out with a similar ad. It used to bother me, but now I'm like, if you can't come up with anything on your own, then please copy me and even try to make it better. See what you can do with it. But anyway, so when we talk about the McAfee Way, the Toyota Way, they came up with was it had to be done this way all the time, every time. And very interesting book. It's probably 15, 20 years old now, but very interesting book. If you're going to kickstart a way of doing business, I would recommend you read the Toyota Way. And I'm not necessarily a Toyota fan, although they do have some high quality products. It will teach you the outline of how they came up with the Toyota Way and just how religiously they stick with it. So it would be a good book for you to read. Okay, but today we're going to talk about the McAfee Way. And I had these little cards made up. They fold, they fit in a pocket, and on one side you have the McAfee vision and the McAfee mission and vision statement, rather. So our mission statement is leading in air quality one home at a time. I think I talked about this before, but in case you haven't heard it, we are leading out of 500 and some heating and air conditioning companies. We've moved to number one. We've stayed at number one for several years. And if I haven't said this before, it's a lot harder to stay number one than it is to even get to number one. So we've stayed number one. Air quality is what we do, from heating, air conditioning, air duct cleaning, humidification. Everything we do is about air quality, and one home at a time. We're in homes. 95 to 97% of what we do is in a home. We're residentially driven. I love residential. It's my baby. I love to market to homeowners. I love to serve homeowners, and I love to get paid when the job's completed with homeowners. It works very nicely all the way around. But our vision statement is to be recognized as an innovator and leader in the residential HVAC industry in our market within the Miami Valley. That's the valley. The Miami Valley is the community that we live in, and it's very well known here as the Miami Valley. On the other side, you've got the McAfee Way. Now, there's going to be someone in my or more than one, that listens to this podcast that is a competitor of mine, and they're going to be all ears. What is the McAfee way? How can we copy this McAfee way and be as successful as McAfee is? I'm not making this up, folks. Happens all the time. I don't walk on water. We make a lot of mistakes here, but for some reason, heating and air conditioning companies cannot come up with their own ideas, like I said. All right, so I'm going to talk about the McAfee way, and everything I talk about here is to help you with your business. So whether you're in my territory, or you're in Florida, or you're in Texas, or Massachusetts, or wherever you're at, I hope this helps. This is the McAfee way of doing business. There's just 6 words. We're going to talk about 6 words that tie into the McAfee way. The first word is integrity. We're gonna maintain integrity in everything we do. We both internally and externally. So there's many different definitions to integrity, but our favorite is doing what's right even when no one's looking. And so we're gonna have integrity in our work, in our equipment, high quality. It even has integrity. But everything we touch, everything we do, from the initial process of our advertising, marketing, and branding, which, by the way, the next podcast is going to be on branding. I actually came up with something yesterday, rattled it off, and everybody was like, wow, is that such a thing? I said it is now, and I'll talk to you about it here on the next podcast, and it has to do with branding. Very important that you grasp it. A lot of things that we grasp, we don't even realize. Like I said, we don't walk on water. We don't have everything perfected. There's a lot of companies that do things much better than ours. But some of the things we do are pretty cool. And after we actually sit down and we go, hey, we should call it this, then it becomes even cooler. But integrity is integrity. And if you're going to stay in business long and you're going to build a company, you better have integrity. And when I say both internally, that's inside our company. That's from the process of how we advertise and market and brand. There are no tricks. There's no bait and switches. There's nothing false or untrue about how we advertise, market, or brand ourselves. So it's very solid. You can count on my company because you can count on me. That was a saying that we used for years, and because I mean it. You can count on our advertising, marketing, and branding because you can count on me. You can count on our service, the way we service your furnace because you can count on me. You can count on the way we install your furnace because you can count on me. And honestly, folks, it starts at the top and trickles down. This is not a Greg McAfee thing at all. That you should be able to say this. You should be able to look your customer in the eye. You should be able to look your vendor in the eye. You should be able to look your accountant in the eye. And you should be able to look your banker in the eye and say, you can count on my company because you can count on me. I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like to hear it or not, sometimes. So anyway, integrity, from the way we answer the phone to the way we schedule. If we make a mistake, we confess our mistake quickly, fix it, and move on. We don't dwell on our mistakes. So integrity is about everything we do. It's doing what's right, even when no one's looking. It's doing what's right, even when people expect you not to. Example, Customer calls in and says, I don't know how to tell you this, but, somehow my wall in the living room got scratched. It was not scratched before you got here. I know you came through that way when they carried stuff in and it got scratched, and I just found it today. What's the customer expecting? They're expecting you to say, well, how do we know we scratched it? How and get on the defense. And at McAfee, it's I'm sorry to hear that. What's it going to take to fix it? And by the way, folks, I just talked to my operations manager about this today. Sometimes by asking that question, what would you like to do? What would it take for us to fix it? Or another version, what can we do to make you happy? Those two questions are very important in business because a lot of times you're expecting them to say, it's going to cost $500 to fix the drywall and paint it and all that stuff. And their answer might be, if you guys could, just give us $50 to cover the paint, we'll do the rest. And that's all it takes sometimes. So when you ask the question, what will it take to make you happy? What will it take for us to fix this? Sometimes it's a lot less than what you were expecting. So there's no sense in defending your team, defending your company, and getting on the defense. I guarantee you, getting on the defense is not gonna cause them to refer you. They have to deal with you because you just put in their new system, but they don't have to refer you, and they don't have to tell their friends about you. And once the warranty's up, they don't have to use you anymore. So just be honest. So the honest answer is, what's it going to take to fix this? We're sorry it happened, and get it done. Fix it and move on. I tell people all the time, we have fixed hose spigots that we never used, scratches in a piano that we were never in the piano room. We have fixed light switch covers that we were never in the light switch cover room. So the list goes on and on and on of what we've had to fix, and we just do it. If we were there, let's fix it. Let's get it done and keep this customer satisfied, so they will continue to not only use us and use us again in another 10 to 12 years, but they'll refer us to many of their friends and family, which is a good thing. So integrity is number one. Number two is care. Take care of people first. Take care of your employees, take care of your customers, and your vendors. And I put it in that order for a reason. Actually, if you just say take care of customers, and you look at your employees as customers, and you look at your vendors as customers, then just take care of customers. But if you break it down, take care of your people first, your team. Because without your team, it doesn't matter. You won't have a customer without your team. And you won't need vendors without your team. So take care of your team first, because if you take care of your team well enough, they will gladly take care of the customer, which is your customer. And also take care of the vendors. So how do you take care of your team? Well, you provide an atmosphere, a pleasant atmosphere to work in that they can provide for their families. How do you take care, and you can break that down all day long. You've got to provide an atmosphere where they can come to work and they can excel and they can succeed. Okay, where it's professional, where there's systems in place, where they know what the goals are, and they know, and they're trained properly to do their job right. Okay, and then take care of the customer, because the customer is very important, and you take care of the customer by doing what you say I'm sorry, I get carried away there. Doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. And that's very important. Just do what you say you're going to do. If you tell them you're going to be there at 8 a.m., then you better be there at 5 minutes till 8 and not 5 minutes after. If you tell them that you're going to install that system for $9,400, but you get in there and you run into an unforeseen problem, you do it for $9,400 anyway. Just do what you say you're going to do. And you say, Greg, if I can't do it for $9,400, it costs $1,000 to fix the problem. Wah, get over it. Eat the $1,000. You'll make it up on the next job somewhere, the next 3 jobs, whatever it takes. But fix it and move on. The customer doesn't even need to know about the problem a lot of times. When our installers call their manager and they say, we just ran into something that the comfort advisor did not see, we find out just what's the problem, what's it going to take to fix it, and then we fix it and we move on. It's not that hard. When you get in the habit of doing that, it's not that hard. And your team, boy, it's such a relief. Just fix it. Fix it. 2 words that'll solve a lot of problems in your business. Fix it. Okay, so care. You care about the vendors. How do you care about vendors? You pay them on time. The key. You pay them on time and you do what you say you're going to do. Okay? We are known, and I'll brag about this because it's a choice. We are known for paying quicker than any company in our area. Our vendors are so happy to do business with us. So when I do negotiate, when we negotiate better on prices, of course they're going to negotiate with us because they know they're going to get paid, and they're going to get paid early. So take care, really care. Don't just say you care, show you care. There's a difference. And then also, number 3, it's culture. Demonstrate a culture that, again, provides an atmosphere where people can work in and succeed. Our culture is caring. Our culture is about integrity. Our culture strives for perfection. We're going to strive for perfection. We know we're not going to hit perfection. Again, we don't walk on water, but we're going to hit excellence along the way. And that, perform the job right the first time so we don't have to go back the second time and we don't have to go back the third time. Okay? We've all been there. We know callbacks are very expensive. We know callbacks don't make us any money. And why? So how can we avoid callbacks? A lot of times, if a callback is the company's fault and not the product's fault, it's doing it right the first time. It goes back to integrity. Don't cut corners. Don't allow your team to cut corners. We've brought people on who want to make something look good, but it's not. Internally, it's not good. They make it look good from the outside, but the inside, if they'd have taken their time a little bit more, it would have been good on the inside and the outside. So we don't allow that. There's no cutting corners. My father-in-law really taught me the meaning of cutting corners. He used to go in. They used to install cabinets years and years ago, but he would tell a story about flooring when they would move the stove out of the way to install the cabinet. There would be missing tile underneath the stove where they just cut corners and they didn't finish the job all the way up to the wall. That's cutting corners. And you can come up with 100 different ways that a heating and air conditioning or a plumbing or an electrical or a landscaper or a lawn mowing service, whatever service you're in, you can come up with 100 different ways on how your industry cuts corners. Avoid that. So you want to create a culture that strives for perfection. You want to create a culture that provides an atmosphere where people can succeed in and provide for their family. And then number 4 is consistency. You want to be consistent in everything you do. Consistency does start at the top too. Everything starts at the top. If there's a problem within your company, you probably created it. Let's face it. So it's your job to fix it. If you've created problems in your company, it's your job to fix the problems. And your people will appreciate that. So give consistency to everyone. Give consistency to your team. Give consistency to your customers, and give consistency to your vendors or suppliers. When I say vendors, I'm talking about suppliers. It's be consistent. And also in your marketing and your advertising and your branding, be consistent. You shouldn't have multiple different color trucks. You should have all one color truck. You should have, if you can help it, you should have all one same color logos. Not meaning one color, but every logo, wherever your logo's at, they should look the same. The only difference there is sometimes when we do, our colors are black and red. So if I do something on a black jacket, I either do like all light gray or all white, because black and red's not going to show up on a black jacket. So other than that scenario, be consistent in all you do. At least every black jacket has the exact consistent color. Let's put it that way. All right. Number 5 is innovative. Your company should be growing, and you should be innovative to help it grow. You should be an innovative organization. You should always be learning. You should always be reading. You should always be watching a podcast and finding out what others are doing. Right now, I'm watching a lot about what Ken Goodrich is doing. Ken Goodrich owns a company called Gettle in Las Vegas area, Nevada, and Ken is just kicking it and making it happen and rocking the world, really, of HVAC. So I'm reading a lot about him. I'm watching podcasts that he's interviewed on, and I'm learning a lot about him. So you should be very innovative. You should always want to be ahead of your competition. At McAfee, we strive to be ahead of the competition. I never copy anything my competition does. Never. I don't want to. It's theirs, and most of the time, it's not any good anyway. And I say that in a good way, but it's not. So the last thing here is team, the word team, and make wise decisions as a team. Play as a team. My daughter's in basketball, and she's a junior in high school, and she plays basketball, and I'm just really emphasizing the strength, the importance of playing as a team. Well, your company should play as a team. There shouldn't be any backbiting. There shouldn't be any backbiting among departments or players on your team. It doesn't go well, and it doesn't make for a strong team. And use your team. There's a lot of people on your team that's smarter than you in a lot of different areas. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, and I try to hire people who are stronger in my weak areas than I am. I'm not afraid of that. You've heard the saying, if you're the smartest person at the table, you're at the wrong table. I totally agree. Any table I'm at, I want smarter people there so I can learn from them. I'm a sponge. So, integrity, care, culture, consistency, innovation, and team. And at McAfee, I'm actually thinking about throwing one more in, making a seventh way, and that's running a business by biblical principles. I haven't figured out how to shorten that yet, but run a basically a godly business. But that's a McAfee way. It doesn't have to be your way. The first business book I ever read in my entire life was called Business by the Book, which Larry Burkett wrote, and it's all about running a business by biblical principles, and it basically got us where we are today. So anyway, you need a way. You need to figure it out. It does not have to be this way, and it shouldn't be this way. It should be your way, and you need to figure your way out. If you need any help, You can email me anytime at Greg. It's not at Greg. It's Greg at mcair.com. Greg at macair.com. For now, I hope I've given you some stuff to think about. Have a great day. Carry on.